Hello FlossTube and Happy New Year. I am leann.stitches here on YouTube and on Instagram. Today is January 1st, 2022, and this is my end of year 2021, beginning of year 2022 WIP parade. If you're not familiar, WIP is works in progress, and this is where I'm just going to go through every cross stitch project I have on the go right now. And I will put a little picture in to show you where I was last year, and if I can, I'll tell you how many stitches I stitched. And if I have any specific goals for this year on that project, I also am going to go ahead and say that. But I'm trying not to make too many goals this year just because of how 2021 went with work and stuff. So I don't want to set goals that I know I'm not going to be able to make, or that I think I'm not going to be able to make, because that's no fun. Anyway, let's just get straight to it. The first project that I'm going to start with is officially my oldest WIP. I am going to go in chronological order of when I started. So here we go. The first WIP is Marvel Heroes. I can't remember who this is by off the top of my head because my mind just went totally blank, as it does when we start filming. But I do know that the seller, I bought it on Etsy. The seller is no longer active. But there are other sellers on Etsy who are doing the same artwork, just maybe a different stitch count. This is a present for my husband, and it was one of my main focus pieces in 2021. There are 105,200 stitches total, and I did 23,843 stitches in 2021. I ironed some of these, and I tried to fold them in a way that meant I wouldn't be fussing with fabric the whole time. We'll see how this goes. There it is. I actually took it out of the scroll frame to show it off. I haven't done that in a really long time. I tried super hard to finish that page before the end of the year. I sat here all day yesterday and worked on it, and I just couldn't get it done. There's so much confetti. But yeah, I'm super proud of this. My original goal was to finish this in 2022. However, there are 60,157 stitches left. And seeing as how in 2020, I stitched 21,000, and 2021, I stitched almost 24,000. I just really don't see that happening. So I think I'm going to, I'm still going to do my best. It's still going to be a focus piece, but I think what I'm going to do is shoot for my husband's birthday, which is in May of 2023 instead. We'll see how it goes. It might be a Christmas 2023 finish. I just don't know. The important thing is that I'm still enjoying stitching on it, and I'll talk more about it in my next FlossTube video, because I think I found something that will help me. I don't think I said, but I started that on February 26th, 2020. The next one I have to show you is Halloween Quaker by Leela's Studio. I started this on March 6th, 2020. And I got a lot done last year, as far as I can tell. I'll see for sure when I put up the comparison. This is stitched, I'm doing this with everything called for. I believe it's 40 count linen in the colorway Murky by Picture This Plus. And I am stitching 2/2 because when I started it, I was a newbie and I didn't know any better. There it is. My goal for this one this year is a finish. I had hoped to finish it this year because I was using it for Magical Stitches challenges as my oldest WIP. It was my penalty stitches, but I kind of dropped out of Magical Stitches towards the end of the year just because I wasn't wanting to count my projects, and so using that as I wasn't wanting to count my stitches on non-pattern keeper patterns. And since that was my oldest WIP and I had tended to just do penalty stitches all year long, I just dropped the ball. I think I said I would love to finish that this year. I might even try to finish it before its birthday in March. We'll see. I have some model stitching coming up, so that might make it not possible, but we'll try. The next one I have to show you is the Adams Family Sal by Just Stitch Design. And this was a stitch along, Sal means stitch along, in 2020, and it was done on a Facebook group. I don't have a fully complete picture because I've never been able to find one. Honestly, I haven't looked in a little while. There might be one out there now, but like I said, I just haven't looked. I started this one on May 1st, 2020. It was my first Stitch Mania start ever. And I got quite a bit done last year, I think. I think I completed a couple of rooms and I stitched that massive tree. Let's see. I don't know how I'm going to compare this. I might have to do a before and after picture in different screens instead of side by side. We'll see how it goes. So yeah. My original goal on this piece for the year was to stitch an entire floor, but that tree took a lot longer than I was anticipating. So I'm not really sure what my goal on this piece is this year. I think I might just want to finish there's 2 more rooms on this floor and one of them is quite large. So maybe we'll just say I want to finish those 2 rooms. I don't really know if I can finish the whole floor, including all of the little extras. That would be cool too, but I'm not going to stress over it. The next piece I have to show you is the Words to Live by Sal by Tiny Modernist. I started this on May 5th, 2020, and this was my second Stitch Mania start. And my goal for this piece this year was to finish the top row, and I did. So yay! And there it is. I don't know why I don't pick up this piece more often. It really is really fun to stitch. It goes by super fast. The colors are beautiful. So I'm gonna try. I can't do a whole other row this year because of the middle block. It takes up 2 rows. So I don't really know what my goal is. Mostly my goal is just to stitch on it more because it's fun. This is a 32 count Belfast linen, hand dyed by me. There's no colorway. It was just when I was learning to dye. I think the closest colorway in my shop would probably be charcoal. So yeah, the next piece I have is Long Dong Samplers, Castles in the Air. And I started this piece on May 26th, 2020. And here is where I'm at. This is stitched on a 32 count Belfast Opalescent, dyed by me. I do not have this color in the shop at all. It was just when I was learning how to dye. I'm stitching it monochromatic, obviously, with DMC 3865, I believe. I'm honestly considering restarting this. The fabric is so dark and the sparkles make it really hard to see. However, I haven't touched this since before I got my Lowry stand. So as I was thinking about my WIP parade this morning and filming and thinking about each project and taking each project out and ironing it and setting it up, I thought, well, let me try, now that I have my Lowry stand, let me try stitching it that way and see if it will be any better before I make any decisions. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. My next piece is my first Heaven and Earth Designs. And it is Wizard of Oz, artwork by Scott Gustafson. Is that right? Yes, Gustafson. When I was reading it backward, it looked like there was an R in there. I started this piece on May 28th, 2020. There are 133,875 stitches in this, and I stitched 3,174 stitches on it last year. I think my goal on this piece was 5,000 stitches, so I didn't quite make it, but I didn't do too terribly considering everything that came up. So there it is. This is a little bit darker than what the product image is. So at first it was a little disappointing, but as I have learned more about stitching and Heaven and Earth designs, or HADE, and charting, I've really come to appreciate it for how it is. It's on a 22 count antique white hardanger fabric, and I'm stitching 2/1. I don't super enjoy it. It is very thick and the stitches feel a little bulky to me, but I don't dislike it enough to change the fabric and restart. So we'll just see how it goes. I don't have a specific goal on this. I'd like to reach 10,000 stitches, which would be, I don't know, maybe about 7.5%. We'll see how it goes. Just depends on where my Stitchy Mojo takes me this year. I'm not doing challenge groups other than maybe some full coverage fanatic stuff. I'm really just going to stitch what I want when I want because of all of the stuff that I have to do for work. I want to just enjoy my personal stitching. The next piece I have is Sea Glass by Carolyn Manning Designs. And I started this with a bunch of other people on June 6th, 2020. There are 26,244 stitches in this piece. And last year I stitched 1,818, which for how easy this is to stitch on really is not that much. I think my goal was about 5,000 stitches. And then my original goal was to complete this by this year, but that's not happening. I do want to spend some more time on it because it is a really relaxing stitch. It's on 14 count Silver Moon Ada. It was just a piece I had from, I bought it at Nashville Market last year when I was just buying lots of different kinds of fabric to learn how to dye. So yeah, I love the teals and I even love the light greens in this. So we'll see how it goes this year. The next piece I have is Ever After by Tilton Crafts. And I started this on July 26th, 2020. And Ever After is one of my favorite movies of all times. And oh, the designer on this is Daniel Kordick, and I just love his drawing style. I think that this just reflects the fantasy-ish of Ever After really well. And that moment where she appears and she's got the sparkly wings on and she says, "Just breathe." That's one of my favorite moments of the whole movie. So anyway, that piece has 113,750 stitches. And I stitched 5,186 stitches on it this year. I believe my goal was 5,000 stitches. So I did it. And I'm just doing lots of background, lots of blue. It's on a 16 count Ada, 2/1, just 16 count because that's what I had. And I saw it and I wanted to start it immediately. So I did. I don't have a specific goal for this one this year. It'd be nice to get it to 10%, which would be about 8,500 stitches. We'll see. That seems like a lot, so I don't know if that'll happen. The next piece I have is Once Upon a Fairy Tale. I started this, oh, it's by HADE, artwork by Amy Stewart. And I started this on July 31st, 2020. There are 402,000 stitches in this piece. It is my second largest project. I stitched 5,358 stitches on it last year. My goal was 5,000, so I did meet it. There it is. I love stitching on this one. I'm so addicted to it because just the more I stitch on it, the more details pop out. And there is just, Amy Stewart's designs are fabulous. There are so many details in them. And so it never gets boring. I don't have, oh, this is on 25 count Easy Grid, stitched 1/1. I don't have a specific goal on this. I would love to say I'd take it to 10%, but that's not going to happen. Oh, I didn't put how many stitches I stitched on this. It looks like I've only got 2,000 stitches total, but that can't be right. I must have an error in my formula. But I don't know, maybe if I can get it to 5%, that would be 20,000 stitches, which is still a lot. We'll see. The next piece I have, for my 40th birthday in yes, this was 2020. Whoa. For my 40th birthday in 2020, we had big plans before the world went crazy, and we had to cancel them all. We made backup plans, we had to cancel them. We made backup plans and had to cancel them. So I decided I was just gonna sit home and stitch all weekend, and I was gonna start a ton of projects. So I did. And so this one was the first one that I started on September 4th, 2020. It is Quaker Pumpkins by Hello by Liz Matthews. And I did a full conversion on this one to my own floss and fabric, because by September I had done quite a bit, and I was more comfortable with my dyeing, and I had gotten a lot of different floss colors done, and I just thought it would be fun. So I'm doing this on a 32 count Belfast linen. It's the closest colorway in my shop is Spearmint, and I've converted all the flosses as well. And I got a good bit done on this one this year. I don't remember exactly where I was when I started, but one of the 24 hours of cross stitch this year, I worked on this the whole weekend. And I think I've only ever done maximum 16 hours, but I got a lot done in those hours. I don't have a goal for that. I would love to be able to finish that this year, but it is a fairly large piece, and I'm not even halfway done. So we'll see. Maybe I'll pull it out for another 24 hours of cross stitch, but also I'm going to stitch on that this month for WIP Go, which I'll talk about again in my next FlossTube. So we'll see where I get. The next piece I have is All Hallows Eve by Joan Elliott. And I started this on September 5th, 2020. I don't know how many stitches I put in because I am not counting my paper patterns anymore. But I did finish a page and started the next one, and I'm pretty happy about that. This year for a goal, I would love to finish this middle section. It goes all the way across. Let me show you again. It goes all the way across. So I did this page. I skipped this page and went straight here because I thought that looked like a lot of fun to stitch. So I would love to get that middle seam done, but it is very stitch heavy, and just knowing from when I stitched on this in October, it would take quite a while, so we'll have to see. I am stitching this on 32 count Belfast Opalescent, hand dyed by me. The closest colorway in my shop would be Tumbleweed. But again, it was when I was learning to dye. You can see I've got like rubber band marks, and it's a little bit strange, and that's why I'm stitching on it instead of it being in the shop. The next piece I have is Halloween at Hawk Run Hollow by Carriage House Samplings. And I started this on September 6th, 2020. This was my 3rd birthday start. And last year I did no new starts 2021 until I realized that I was going to stitch more than my allotted model stitches. And so in September for my birthday, I quit. I mean, technically, I guess I was disqualified, but whatever. Semantics, right? Oh, I remember where I was going with that. So I started this in 2020, but Sammy Liz and Sam of Sammy Liz and Sarah of Memphis Sarah E and Bobby of Pumpkin Creek Primitives. I can never say her name. I have to like sit and enunciate it. They were doing a SAL last year, a start along, and I kind of pushed my way in and said, hey, I want to join, even though I've already started, because I couldn't start anything last year, but they were starting it and I wanted to work on it. So I kind of weaseled my way in, and now they can't get rid of me. So I love this piece. It is 28 count cashel linen, hand dyed by me. I really don't think there's a comparable color in my shop. I think it was kind of a one-of-a-kind deal. But yeah, I finished this top block and I got about halfway through the bottom block, and the bottom block is basically completely full coverage. There is a little bit right here, and other than that, it's completely full coverage. So I would love to finish that block. Honestly, I would love to finish the whole thing this year, but I know that's not going to happen. So I would love to finish that block this year and maybe a third one. If I could finish the whole right side, left side, that would be awesome. We'll see where it goes. If we can get some more Zoom, we started it, or they started it and I joined in on Zoom together one time, and I don't know if we've ever stitched on Zoom other than that one time. We chat on Instagram all the time though, but so if we got some more Zoom calls this year, that would be really fun, and I bet I could get a lot of progress done. Hear that? Let's do more Zoom calls. The next piece I started was "And a Forest Grew," and this was really my first foray into a real sampler style with all the wording and everything. I think, because before that I had done Castles in the Air, and it's called Long Dog Sampler, but it's not really a sampler. And All Hallows Eve, I think, is technically called a sampler. No, it is a sampler because it has the alphabet. Anyway, but this was my first of this style. And it is massive. It is 420 by 200. And I'm using a full yard for this. It's undyed. It is 28 count cashel linen. And I really enjoy working on this piece. I didn't pull it out until the year was over, halfway over, I'm pretty sure. But I just love working on this piece. I don't know why I don't pull it out more often. The only thing that slows me down on this one is that there's a lot of color changes. I think it pretty much uses every single green that DMC makes, but it's just awesome. And also, while stitching this tree right there, I decided that we needed a weeping willow tree in our yard, and so I'm actually about to order it because they ship in February from the place where I like to buy our trees from. So yeah, there's that one. I can't remember how many pages I finished. I know I definitely finished one, but I think I'm kind of stitching around and finishing motifs as opposed to stitching by page. I would love to finish 2 or 3 pages on this year and make some real progress. If I think I'm getting close to the words. Yeah, I'm actually right at where the words start. So if I could stitch the tree and the words this year, that would be really fun. Maybe that'll be my goal, to get the tree and the words done. The next piece is my other massive sampler. I started this on September 10th, 2020. It's called Consider the Lilies. I blame Alma from Alma's Little Wonders for me starting this one because I was in the mood to stitch some flowers and she showed me this, and it's all her fault. We actually started it together. And I had problems with this one last year. I stitched on it a lot and then I put it in timeout because I stitched this flower and this were all too low, I think. Yeah, they were all too low because I had stitched this too low and I based all of this off of that. So I had to frog this here and up here and add another limb up here. I had to frog this whole thing. I had to frog the hedgehog. So I put it in timeout for quite a while until I had the fortitude to frog all of that and restitch it. And now that I haven't worked on it since then, but I really want to get started on this one again. This is the thing about WIP parades, is it makes you fall in love with all of your pieces all over again. So yeah, it is on a 28 count cashel linen because that was my thing when I was starting all these projects. It is using the DMC conversion, and oh, I am using one of my Hand Dyes flosses on these little flowers. I don't know where else it is in the chart yet, It's my brick colorway because there was no DMC conversion for that color, and I didn't have the colorway to try to make one, so I just looked it up online and matched it to my wall. The fabric, the closest colorway in my shop to this fabric is Love Potion. It's slightly different. There's a little brown in there that Love Potion doesn't have, but that was the model for Love Potion. I said when I started that, I said I didn't make a goal for that one, did I? I think I would just like to get a couple pages done, honestly. I don't see anything specifically that jumps out at me in the pattern that I could make a goal. So I just want to stitch on it. There's a good goal, right? My next piece is Reader's Paradise by Amy Stewart, artwork by Amy Stewart again, and charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. I started this on September 12th, 2020. It was kind of like a bonus birthday start. Consider the Lilies was my last planned one, and then I saw this one and I decided to start it too. It is 375,550 stitches, and last year I stitched 5,358. I had a lot of fun stitching on this one last year. That's where I'm at. This is 25 count easy grid, and it is 1/1 with all the called for DMC. I don't really know what to say about this pattern. I just love it. I love all the detail, and I'm stitching, I don't know if you would say cross country by color, because I'm really not. I picked up a style from Stitchin' Mommy, and she, I think, calls it typewriter, I think is what she has named it, where I pick a color up here wherever the next empty stitch is, and then I basically finish a thread. Sometimes I will finish not just one length of thread, but I will finish an entire like 6 lengths of thread in my 1 yard piece that I have on my card. Words are very difficult to get out today. So that's kind of how I've been stitching this one, and I've really been enjoying watching all the details come out right away. I don't have to wait for them the way I have been on Once Upon a Fairy Tale. So I don't have a particular goal with that one. Again, it's a very large piece. It's my 3rd largest, I think. So I don't know if I'm not going to make a goal on that one. I just am having fun with it. The next piece is Mini Tea and Books, and this is another Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Bridget Ashwood, and I don't usually go for brown things, but I could not pass this up because tea and books are my 2 favorite things. Well, Diet Dr. Pepper too. So, but yeah, it doesn't sound as good, does it? Putting a big gold bottle of Diet Dr. Pepper on top of a stack of books. There are 75,625 stitches in this, and I stitched 1,834 this year. I didn't pull it out a whole lot. And I've just been stitching out from the outside in and watching the color gradiate or, you know, get lighter and lighter. And I have a lot of fun on this one. I just didn't have a lot of time to pull it out this year. I think my goal on this was 5,000 stitches. And I definitely did not even get half of that. Again, I don't have a specific goal on this one this year. I'd really like to stitch far enough into cover where I spilled on there though. I suppose I could just soak it out. If I could get 5,000 stitches done on this year, that would be pretty cool. Or if I could get it to 10%, which would be 7,500 stitches total. No, I've already got 6,000 on it. I don't know. The next piece I have is Dark Voyager. And I charted this myself using Stitch Fiddle, using some artwork my son found online. I did not consult the artist, and I should have, and I have not been able to find the artwork again to ask him if it's okay. So that was my bad. There's 90,000 stitches in this. And last year I stitched 3761. I had really wanted to stitch about 25,000 stitches on this last year and finish it this year, because both of my girls have gotten a piece from me and my son has not. He doesn't know I'm stitching this. We had been looking for artwork for his room and I couldn't find a poster of that anywhere. And his two interests are Fortnite and Jiu-Jitsu, and I found a Jiu-Jitsu art piece for him. And so I figured I would stitch this, and I had really hoped to get it done this year, but it's just not going to happen. So I'd like to get a good dent in it though. So we'll see how it goes. If I could get like 20, 25,000 stitches on this, which is probably pretty insane because that's about 500 stitches a week. It would be cool if I could, but I'm not going to stress over it. Did I say I started that on October 19th, 2020? And it is on 16 count Ada, 2/1. My next piece is Mini Realm of Enchantment. The artwork is by Ann Stokes and it is charted by Hade. And I started this on November 2nd, 2020, when I started a ton of full coverage pieces because I went absolutely insane and I was doing New Start November in preps for No New Starts 2021 and I just went absolutely insane. You're about to see. This is on 18 count Ada and I started from the bottom. This is the first one I started from the bottom left for something different and to see how it worked differently than starting in the top left. This one has 75,075 stitches, and last year I did 4,456. I think my goal was 5,000 on this one, so I came really close. I had a lot of fun stitching this one just because you get into the details so fast. Like there's her wing already, and here's her dress, and the unicorn is right there. And so I really had a lot of fun stitching on this. Plus it helps that my daughter always asks me, can I see it? Can I see it? Because this one's for her. Have you stitched on it? When are you going to stitch on it again? So it makes me want to pull it out more because then I get to tell her, yes, I did. So yeah, I don't have a specific goal for that one. If I could get it to 10 or 15%, that would be cool. That'd be 7,500 or 10, I don't know, roughly 10,000 stitches. That would be cool. The next one is a bonus piece for my daughter. It is Mini Shoot the Moon. Artwork is by Ann Seed. No, Leann Seed. Hey, it's me. And it's charted by Hade. I started this one on November 10th, 2020. And like I said, it was a bonus piece for my daughter just because she loves purple. And I just really liked it. I actually bought several pieces like this when I bought this one. This is the only one I started. That one is 74,970 stitches. And last year I stitched 3,281, all in black. I did not kit this one up. I have a cone of DMC 310. And so a lot of the pieces that you're about to see, my entire plan this year was just to stitch the black. So that's what I did. And I actually stitched, I think my goal was 5,000 this year. And I actually stitched a lot more than I thought I would, or maybe my goal was only 2,000. And I stitched 3,281 stitches. I don't know if I said that. I started on November 10th, 2020. I don't know if I said that either. And it's on 18 count Ada. I went through a lot of 18 count during New Start November. I think I bought like 5 yards of it because I'm crazy and just cut it all up because I had a lot of really big ones that I started that you're about to see. So yeah, I don't really have a goal for that one. It's kind of a bonus piece. My daughter doesn't know about that one. She knows about the Mini Realm of Enchantment. So that is my go-to piece when I want to stitch for her. This one is just fun because it's a lot of block stitching in black. So it's kind of a relaxing one when I want to stitch for her, but I don't want to stitch the more details. I can pull that one out. The next piece is Anna and Elsa by Aurora CS on Etsy. And this is the same designer who did my Beauty and the Beast piece that I stitched for my youngest daughter and gave to her for her 5th birthday this year. She also asked for Anna and Elsa and Moana. And so I bought both patterns, and this is the only one I started. So there it is. Again, I started this one in the bottom left corner on 18 count Ada. And I started with the black. I did not kit this one up. I started with just the black because someone in one of the full coverage groups is stitching these pieces as well. And she stitches all the black first and then fills it in like a coloring book. And so I thought I would give it a shot. I did not enjoy it. I really like stitching the colors first and then going back in and filling the black, because to me, it's some mindless stitching I can do. So as you can see, I started in on the colors. I just pulled whatever DMC flosses I had and started stitching on those. So yeah, I started this on November 15th, 2020. There are 31,968 stitches. And last year I did all of 852 stitches. So I would like to do a good 5,000 on this one this year. I'd like to get it done before she's over Anna and Elsa. Right now her favorite is Anna, and she still dresses up in her Elsa dress and asks me to braid her hair and stuff. So we're still good, but I'd like to get it done while she still likes it. The next piece I started was, I think this is the only non-full coverage piece that I started in November, is Joyo Noel by, it's a free pattern by Aurifil, which makes Aurifloss. So it's charted in Aurifloss, and there were some lovely stitchers in Virtual Stitchers who converted it into DMC. And I only worked on this piece for a few days this year. I had hoped to do more, but I didn't work on it at all until December. And here it is. I love this piece. I love stitching on it. It is so much fun. It is on 32 count Belfast Opalescent undyed. And like I said, I'm using all DMC. This year I had this angel stitched in a much brighter red and I didn't like it. So I ripped that out and stitched it in the new red, and then I got a lot of other stuff done. And I also ended up changing this yellow because it just didn't stand out against the white fabric enough the way I had it converted. And so I think I switched to like 743 or something like that, which is a much brighter yellow. Golden yellow, if you will. I don't have a goal at all for that piece. I don't know. The way I set up my WIP Go board is that I did it by category instead of by piece. So whenever a Christmas category comes up, it's possible that I could pull that out, or I might pull out one of my ornaments. Who knows? I might pull out this next piece, which is Santa's Workshop. The artwork is by Thomas Kincaid and it's charted by Haid. I didn't stitch much on this at all, just a couple of days in December. I started it on November 25th, 2020. It has 375,000 stitches, so it's in my top 5 big pieces. And last year I stitched 1,448 stitches on this. This is another one that I did not kit up. I had just planned on stitching the black. I got awfully tired of stitching the black in the few days that I worked on it, so I went ahead and started working on some $37.99 down here. And that's it. There is a funny story attached to this piece because it is also a puzzle, and I am not the only stitcher who has attempted to do this puzzle, but it is the one that I got was a 2,000 piece puzzle, and I am usually really good at puzzles. Not this one. It is too hard, and I would sit down for an hour and only fit 4 or 5 pieces, and I gave up after a week, and I bought the Haid instead, and now even if it takes me 20 years to stitch, it will be a lot faster than trying to do that puzzle. I don't have a goal for it. I've only stitched about 2,500 stitches on it total. So, I mean, 5% would be like 18,000 stitches. And so that's, even that I think is just too much. So I don't really know. If I can move it forward a couple percentage points, I'll be happy. Yeah. Maybe get to 10,000 stitches on it or something. The next piece I have is Mini Capel. Oh, no, it's not. I skipped one. God Shed His Grace. That's what I get by going off my list instead of the charts. This is charted by the Cross Stitch Studio. This is my largest piece that I have. It is 506,627 stitches. It is 869 by 583, and it is massive because I started it on 18 count Aida. I don't know why. I guess it's because that's what I had. I bought that 5 yards, and this is one of the reasons why I bought that 5 yards. This was supposed to be one of my focus pieces this year because I would very much like to hang it in my living room when it is done, but with over 500,000 stitches, it's obviously going to take me quite some time. And even if I pledged to stitch 50,000 stitches on it a year, that's still 10 years. And 50,000 stitches is a lot on one piece. So I honestly don't know how long it's going to take me. I would like to focus on it a little bit more than I did this year. I did 5,673 stitches, which, I mean, aside from the ones I finished, is one of the pieces I stitched on the most as far as full coverage. So there's that. There's really not much to see yet. I'm just working in the scruff underneath the pond. Yeah, I have this one as fully kitted as possible, at least anything that requires more than one skein. I have an entire bucket full of floss in my cupboard for this piece. So I would love to say I could get 50,000 stitches on this done this year. I just don't think it's going to happen. But hey, I'm going to try to do as many as I can, more than 5,673, because that would take 100 years to stitch at that. And I don't think I'm going to live 100 more years. So the next piece is Mini Capel Star Trail. And this is one of the 2 pieces that I did not stitch on all year long. The artwork is by Jeff Pritchard and it's charted by Hade. This was kind of an impulse start. It was my last start of No New Starts November. I started God Shed His Grace on 11/28/2020. I started this on 11/29. I put in about 500 stitches and basically forgot about it. I had thought maybe I could stitch on it like just once before the new year, just so I could get something in, but I didn't. I did other things instead, like try to finish that page on Marvel Heroes. Oh, I guess I don't need to unfold it. So there's where I'm at. It's all $37.99, dark, dark, dark gray. I love the idea of this piece. I just wasn't motivated to stitch on it at all this year. We'll see if I get any done on this year. If I get any done on it in 2022. If I don't, it's probably going to be UFO'd. And that said, since I'm ending my New Start November, I did UFO one piece. It was the Pledge of Allegiance. It was a very large flag by the Cross Stitch Studio. It was just slightly smaller than God Shed His Grace, so somewhere around 500,000 stitches. And I just lost my desire to work on it. So it's currently in the UFO pile. I'm not ripping anything out. I probably have about 1,000 stitches done on it. I'm not ripping it out. I'm not reusing the fabric for anything else right now. It's just quite literally just getting put into the unfinished object pile in case someday I feel like stitching on it again. So then after New Start November, I still had a couple of starts left to prepare for No New Starts 2021. This is Summer Breeze Crop by the Cross Stitch Studio. I thought by buying the crop, I was getting a much smaller version of the larger beach scene, and I was not. It is 517 by 517, which puts it at 267,289, which is much smaller than some of my other pieces, about half as big, but I didn't realize how big it was until I was cutting the fabric. I did not kit this up, and therefore I only stitched 300 stitches on it this year. 303 to be precise. But I started in the bottom left-hand corner, and all of the colors in that corner, I just didn't have. Like when I didn't kit things up, I thought, oh, well, I'll just, I don't plan on stitching a lot on it this year, so I'll just pull from whatever I have and use those when I want to stitch on it. Well, I didn't have any of these colors. It was really weird, actually. So that's why I only got 300 stitches in it. I would love to get a couple percentages done on that. Say if I got 5,000 stitches done, that'd be 2%. So seems like a decent goal. The next piece I started was one of my 6 Dimensions Gold ornaments. And these were the very first cross stitch pattern I bought. It was a Dimensions Gold kit when I got back into cross stitching at the end of 2019. And this I have deemed House with Santa. And this is the second piece that I did not work on whatsoever in 2021. And part of the reason why I didn't get any done is because I worked on 2 other ornaments. I finished 2 ornaments and I I'm about 2/3 of the way done with a third one. Originally, I had wanted to finish these in 2021. But the reason why I didn't pull this one out at all was because I gridded it. And then when I started it in the wrong place on the grid. So I didn't know if I should just pull out my stitching, if I should pull out the grid and regrid it. I think what I'm going to end up doing is just completely restarting it. I have some scraps of 18 count Aida, which is what this is. And I think I might just completely start it over rather than ripping anything out. It just doesn't sound like fun to me. I would like to finish that in 2021 finally, because like I said, it was a goal. 2022, I would like to finish it. It was a goal to finish in 2021, and I did get 2 2/3 of one done. But I'd really like to finish them all. The Last Dimensions gold ornament I also started on December 25th, 2020. And this one is Kringle's Toys. And I worked a lot on this one. Like I said, I think I'm about 2/3 of the way done. I am almost done with all of the full crosses. I have the train left and just these window displays. And then there's some trees over here and some people. There's always people down there. And then the rest of it is all half stitching and back stitching. So, I don't know when I'm going to pick this back up again because Christmas did not come up in my WIP go for January, but I'd like to see that be one of my first finishes of, 2022. So we'll see. The next piece that I have is Nevermore, and it is by Leela's Studio. And this is another one that I converted into my own flosses and fabric. I started this on December 31st, 2021. It was my New Year's Eve start of last year. And I have it stitched on Morning Mist, 32 count Belfast linen, 2/2. I do have the conversion up in my shop. You can buy the pattern, you can buy the floss, you can buy the fabric. It's all up there. You just have to search for Nevermore. We're actually having a 30% off sale right now. So this has been one of our more popular conversions. I don't know how many stitches I stitched on it. It was quite a lot. I didn't get a lot of stitches put in last year. I was obsessed with getting this mandala done when I was stitching on it in October, but I could not because I ripped it about 4 times. And then once I gave up finishing that, I just wanted to see some of the other colors into play. So I just did a bunch on a bunch of different motifs. So yeah, I don't have a goal for this one. I might not pick it up until Halloween again. I don't really know. I do enjoy stitching it though. It's really a fun design. It could honestly just be the next, when WIP Go comes around with Halloween. I might do that. Okay, so that was everything that I started in 2020. And then I didn't start anything again other than model stitches all through 2021. And the first one I have to show you is actually a model stitch. And I have never shown in progress model stitches on my channel ever, but I have had this one in progress for a good 4, maybe 5 months. And I don't know when I'm gonna get it done. So I figured I'd just go ahead and put it up. This is called Be Well. And I designed it in memory of my dad because he used to sign off his letters with Be Well. And the license plate frame is kind of an inside joke of ours. For Christmas when I was in college, he loved to say what a long, strange trip it has been. I think it's a song lyric. I really don't know. And so I made him a license plate frame at the mall when I was in college, and he loved it. He put it on right away. I took it off his car after he died, and I have it in storage in the attic. And so I thought that this would be a fun way to remember him. It uses my Neil Diamond flosses, which are the floss version of my Neil Diamond yarn that I made, oh gosh, 4 or 5 years ago in memory of him because Neil Diamond was his favorite singer. And that's where I'm at. I'm stitching it on 40 count Winter Sparrow 1/2. And yeah, so that's that one. I don't have a date of when I started that. I don't know. Somewhere in September, probably August or September. The next one I have to show you is Royal Holiday by Mirabilia. This was my birthday start this year. So I started it on September 5th, 2021. And I got quite a bit done. I stitched on it every Monday for a while until things just got crazy with work again. And I really wasn't stitching much on Monday nights anymore. Oh, that's upside down. I am stitching this 2/2 on 32 count Belfast linen, hand dyed by me. I don't have this color in my shop yet. I plan to put it up at some point. And I'm using all the called for DMC. And there's a couple of Krynic colors in there as well. I am focusing on finishing her dress first, and then I want to get into stitching her red cape. But after starting a couple of other Mirabilias, I might change that, and I might do her her top half first, because on one of my other pieces you'll see in a little bit, I stitched her top half first and I really loved it. And it makes the whole piece look a whole lot prettier and makes sense. So I totally get why people do that. I don't have a goal on that. I would love to finish that this year and hang it for Christmas, but it is a big piece. That's a 1/2 yard of fabric and it takes up a good bit of it. So I don't really know. I have a category on my WIP Go for Mirabilia. So if that comes up soon in the year, I might just pick that one and just go to town stitching it. I don't really know. Speaking of Mirabilia, my next start was a Halloween start. So October 31st, 2021. And this is, I think it's technically called Halloween Fairy, but there is another Halloween Fairy. So I call it the Trick or Treat Fairy. It is by Mirabilia. It appeared in a magazine at first, but now you can buy it on Hirschner's as a digital download. I started this with Sarah from Memphis, Sarah E. I dyed this fabric specifically for this piece. It's called Leaf Pile. It is available in my shop. I have it on 32 count opalescent, and I love stitching this. When I started it, I couldn't stop. I stitched on it for almost a whole week. I particularly loved doing the Trick or Treat in that Krynic. The Krynic, you cannot see it in camera. It's impossible to see it on camera, but it is this beautiful sparkly burgundy color, and I just love it. I had to, when I was working on it, I had to finish that. So yeah, that's another one I would love to finish this year. It's not very big. Like I said, I got almost her whole dress done in less than a week. So we'll see. I'm still a little bit scared of beading. I know that I just need to jump in and do it. So maybe that's the first one that I'll start beading and be able to get it done. My next piece, my next start was The Fox by Cottage Garden Samplings. I started this just recently on December 21st, 2021. I saw this and I just had to. I was holding off. I was going to wait until 2022 and not start it until this month and be good and try to honor still that idea of no new starts, even though I had already started 2 projects. But it appeared in the mail and I was having a hard week and I started it. I am stitching this on 32 count Morning Mist. I have a piece big enough to do all of the winter pieces in this series. There's 3 for each season. That's where I'm at. I'm stitching it, I think I said 32 count Morning Mist, using all the called for DMC, but instead of the Gentle Arts floss, I am using my own just because I had the white is Vanilla Blossom and I had it left over from a model I had been stitching. The darker orange is a brand new color that I dyed specifically to be able to stitch this. It's in here and up in there, and it's going to be called Amber. It's not in the shop yet. It will probably be up in the next couple of weeks once we get through our next club shipments. Yeah, this is, I mean, I stitched on this for 4 or 5 days and I could not put it down. I absolutely love it. I kind of just want to pick it back up and finish it. We'll see, because I have a couple of other starts that have kind of taken my attention, but I would really love to finish this because the next piece in the series, the Swans, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's beautiful and I've already pre-ordered it and it's going to be here soon, and I would really like to start on that. So, and I want this one to be done before I start on that. And there's 1 new pattern in the series every month, and I'd kind of like to stitch it each in that month, especially if they all go as fast as that one did. It'd be really fun to be able to keep up with that. So I'll probably try to finish that in the next couple weeks. The next piece I have is Miss Christmas Eve by Mirabilia. I started this on Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2021 with Sarah from Memphis, Sarah E. I just talked all about this in my last FlossTube, I think. So I won't say too much. I dyed the fabric myself. It will eventually be in the shop. I dyed it specifically for this. I don't know when it'll go up, probably sometime around the same time as that amber thread does. You can't see her. I folded her little hand out of there, but that's where I'm at. And again, I started this on Christmas Eve and I stitched on it for probably 3 days straight. 2 days. I might have done all of this in 2 days. I really didn't do much other than stitch those couple of days. Again, I absolutely love it. The shading and the detail in that top. And honestly, this little peekaboo in there is my favorite part. I just love it. And this is the one that I was talking about where I did her top half and I really enjoyed it. So I might go back and do the top half of Royal Holiday. Yeah, I think I'm going to hold off on the back stitching until I do the beading because, or if I did order some really large Q-snaps. If I can get a Q-snap large enough to put it all in one frame, I might go ahead and start the back stitching and beading on that, just to, you know, play with it. The last piece I started this year, and my chart is all crumpled from being underneath everything, is Temperature Butterflies by Stitchin' Mommy. And you can find this on Etsy. She has tons of temperature patterns, really fun and creative ones. And I've been watching Stitchin' Mommy all year, and I've been watching her stitch on her temperature patterns all year. And I had to. This is on, I started this last night, December 31st, 2021, just because I wanted the outline. Oh, I forgot one of the back stitching. I forgot his other antenna. I wanted the outline done so I could go ahead and start stitching on it once I had the temperatures. This is January's Butterfly. It is on a mystery linen, blue linen that I won in a giveaway. And I stitched it 1/1. I wasn't sure if it was 28 count or 32 count when I started. When I was measuring it, it came out at 30 count and I knew it wasn't hand dyed, so I knew that couldn't be right. And so I went ahead and started stitching it 1/1. I wish I had, I decided that I would treat it as if it was 28 count. So I made really teeny tiny margins. And after stitching it, I counted it again. And then once the stitches were in place, it was obvious it was 32 count. So it is really a teeny tiny butterfly. There's like over 500 stitches in that little teeny tiny butterfly. So yeah, I don't think that's going to focus, but yeah, it's fun and it's pattern keeper compliant. So it makes it super, super easy. And I really look forward to seeing what the weather does this year. Last year was crazy with the Snowmageddon and all of that. So, and now that I'm a lot more into gardening, I think it would be really fun to actually track the weather patterns and temperature patterns in this creative way. So yeah, that is all of my WIPs. I have 35, I think. I don't remember how many I started and finished last year because of all the models I did. I did do a finish parade, so you can see all of the models that I stitched last year. It was the last video I posted a few days ago. I do know that I have 2 or 3 more WIPs starting 2022 than I did 2021, which means I obviously failed at no new starts, but I have so many very large pieces that it's just inevitable. I don't have any definitive plans for starting anything for 2022. I do have lots of patterns that I've been buying. I know I want to do the Year in the Woods series. I bought lots of seasonal things, lots of series things, just because as I was stitching continuously on these very large pieces, I started to crave little projects that I could fit in there and actually get that feeling of accomplishment of finishing them. So I did purchase a lot of patterns when I was stress shopping that fit that bill. And I also bought a whole ton of Mirabilia patterns, more than I could probably ever stitch in a lifetime. But again, most of them were series. So yeah, I am starting, or I did start last night. I did not include it in the WIP parade because it wasn't a 2021 WIP. in the wee hours of the new year after midnight, I started the Vintage Black Sampler by Owl Forest Embroidery with Sam of Sammy Liz. And I will show that on my next FlossTube video, which normally I film on Sundays, but I likely will not film tomorrow. I will likely wait a week and film next week instead, because my mom is only here for a couple of more days. And I've already spent an hour filming this, and I will spend another hour and a half editing it, and I would rather spend time with her. So thank you for watching. If you made it this far, thank you for liking and subscribing and commenting. If you are new here, I hope you enjoyed watching seeing all of my projects. If you are returning, thank you so much. It has been an amazing year. This is also my FlossTube anniversary. I totally forgot about that. So yay! I filmed my first WIP parade and my first FlossTube on January 1st, 2021. So yay! I do have a giveaway planned for my next FlossTube video, so next week, to celebrate. And yeah, I hope that you have had as much fun stitching this year as I have. I don't really know what else to say. It's a fun hobby. It's a great community, and I have loved being part of it for the last year. So I am going to sign off and do my editing and get this posted at some point today, and stitch a little bit on my New Year, New Start, completely unplanned thing, because I have another New Year, New Start to do too. Anyway, I hope you have a fabulous New Year's Day, and I will see you in a little bit. And whatever you do, I hope you lead with love. Bye.